shows, we're about 99% of the country, really.
No, you're not.
There's,
no,
I think,
no,
what
no.
is it, like 80% religious, and
Yeah.
not all of that is Christian, but it wouldn't matter.
Yeah,
I don't
doesn't
care.
matter.
The point is, you have all the airtime, all the radio time, and we have a 1 hour you know what it reminds me of? There's a parable, actually, in your Bible that reminds me of this. It's the one where they give the example of the guy who has like 100 sheep, and his neighbor has like one little pet sheep, and the guy with the 100 sheep goes and steals his neighbor's sheep and slaughters it. And it's like, wow, you couldn't really deal with like the guy having one sheep. That was like freaked you out that your neighbor had one sheep, even though you had 100. And it's like that's kind of what you're doing. You've got like all the airtime, all the TV time, all the money, all the resources. I mean, you've got people handing you 10% of the tithe. I mean, you've just got them coming in throwing their money at you. And yet this 1 hour show we have no budget,
Yeah.
and it's like nothing. And we should have Christians on to promote Christianity, really. Does that seem reasonable to you, honestly?
If you want my honest opinion, I think you guys are scared to talk to serious people about this. You'd
Are you
rather
serious?
just beat up on some clueless guys and then
That call us, like the
pat each other on
callers,
the
right?
back.
Or the clueless ones.
No, we invite people to call and defend their beliefs.
Anybody can call us.
And anybody can call us. We're on the show every Sunday.
We let you
So,
call. I mean, feel free to, and we're letting you talk about whatever you want.
Yeah, any of these professional apologists are welcome to call at any time.
Well,
Consider
I
an
guess
invitation.
I just want to say that I think a lot of the things you guys say are wrong.
Well, so
I would expect that from a
religion,
theist.
and I would just,
for example.
Pardon me?
For example.
Well, that there's no God, I guess, would be the start. If you're an atheist, then right off the bat, we've got a bit of a problem.
Well, yeah, but that's an easy problem to resolve because all it takes is a demonstration of a justification for your belief.
You use really big words when you talk. I'm sorry. It sounds a little...
Okay, I just want you to demonstrate to me that your belief in the existence of a God is justified.
Well, why do I believe in God? Well, there's evidence for God everywhere you look.
Like?
I mean,
as?
just on the news lately, we had a national tragedy. Someone got shot through the brain,
That's
and they
horrible.
survived that.
And wait a minute,
wait.
what? They got shot and they...
Representative Gifford
Right,
got shot
right.
through the brain.
Right.
The doctor said it was get she even lived. She got shot
So
through the
you don't-
brain,
you
and
don't
she
think-
is still alive, and she looks like she will actually get back to normal.
What about the 9-year-old who died?
Yeah.
Well, you just look on the news, and the president said she's up in heaven, and you want to tell us you want to jumping in rain puddles, he said, and you want to tell people that it's just lights out when you die.
So the president decides who's in heaven?
Yeah.
He said she's jumping in rain puddles up there.
Did he see her? I mean, how does he know this?
Well, you want to tell us that it's just game over when you die?
No, I'm just asking how you know
We're asking
this.
how
What
you
is
know
the
this?
justification for claiming she's in heaven? And even if she is in heaven, is that a justification for someone shooting a little girl? Is that part of the miracle? Was that a 9-year-old got killed?
It's a miracle that Representative Gifford survived.
Right.
Imagine you got shot in the head.
So
Do you
the
think you'd have a good chance to live?
Right, the plan was about killing several people so that God could show his beneficence in making somebody go through rehab after getting brain damaged from a bullet through the brain. That's your miracle.
You don't think that's a miracle if
I
someone
think it's
survived
an
a
extreme
gunshot to the head?
tragedy and that it's fortunate that not everybody was killed. But I don't think it's a miracle that somebody survived and is now having to go through rehab and she can barely, I don't even know if she can speak yet.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
this is
doctors don't know
somebody's
that.
But
brain
it's a
damage.
miracle she's even alive.
She's brain
If
damaged
you-
and people are dead. And that's exactly what I would expect to happen at an event where somebody shoots into a crowd. I don't consider several people shot dead and one person brain damaged to be proof of God's miraculous powers.
Let me ask you something. How do you define a miracle? What's your definition of a miracle?
A miracle is the way God shows us he's
no,
real.
no.
It's something that could never happen without God.
So people
never
never
happen without God.
never survive
A
getting
shot
shot
to the
in the head without God.
Without God, she'd be dead, just like most people who get shot through the head with a
So
bullet in
Most
their
people.
brain.
Most
So-
people. But you admit
so
that
how
there's
many-
some people that get shot through the head that don't die.
it's pretty rare.
Right, but it happens.
Right. 10% of
That's
people.
why we call it a miracle. A miracle is
Okay,
a
so a
really
miracle
rare
is a
thing.
rare event. It's not something that can't happen. It's something that could happen, but statistically would be rare.
And in this case, it happens 10% of the
Right.
time.
So anything that happens that's against the odds, which we would assume that in the universe some rare things will happen. Every time a rare event happens, you just say God did it. Is that what we're calling a miracle now?
Well, I wouldn't say it's a miracle if you win the lottery, but I would say
Why
it's a
not?
miracle.
It's
Why
a
not?
rare
It's a
event.
rare event. In fact, it's
What is
it's-
the statistical odds that determine a miracle? Like at what point is it statistically become a miracle versus a rare event?
I don't think you can just you can't do science on it. That's because it's nothing to do with science. It's
So we don't really know at what point rare becomes miraculous versus just rare.
well, this isn't something you study in university. I mean, this is
Right, but
this
you're
is-
saying that you recognize miracles, and I'm asking you what they are, and you're saying they're rare events. And I said, well, there's some rare events like winning the lottery, and you said, but that's not a miracle. So I'm saying,
Yeah.
when do we hit the point when a rare event is then determined to be a miracle?
I think you guys are playing dumb with me. I think you know exactly what I mean when I say
No,
it's a
no,
miracle.
we
Actually,
don't.
I
survive.
don't know what you mean.
No, I want to
I'm
know.
asking you, how do you know how do you differentiate the rare medical survival event from a miracle?
You mean if someone survives cancer,
Right.
I guess that's a miracle if they
But-
survive a
But
deadly
do
disease.
you believe that there is such a thing as natural remissions that can occur? Like, for example, if you have rats in a lab and some of those rats have cancer and they have a natural remission and survive, are you thinking God is saving those rats, or do you think that there's sometimes a natural remission?
Oh, I understand the question now.
Right.
It's not always a miracle. First of all, I don't think
Okay.
God does miracles for rats. I think it's just for humans.
Right, and I
think
didn't
it's
think
when
you
it's
did. I
humans
just wanted,
survive.
yeah, okay. I just wanted to make it clear. I mean, I didn't think that you did think God was doing miracles for rats, but I was trying to make you understand my question better. So my question is, when you see somebody survive cancer, how do you tell the difference between a natural remission, like what we would see in a rat, which we would assume would also occur in humans, versus God fixed the person?
Well, obviously, it's just a question of what you believe. I mean,
No, it's not. It's a question of what you're
can't tell
claiming.
you if God did it or if it was natural.
So the doctor can't tell if it's a natural remission or a miracle, but then how can you tell?
Well, it's just I believe that when these things happen, it's God's work that He does.
Except that sometimes you think it's just a rare event.
It's just a really good thing that happens that you didn't think was going to happen, and then it happens, and you say it's a miracle. And
Like
that
winning the lottery.
God loves you, and that's how He shows you He loves you. Is He protects you.
How do
against-
you differentiate between a rare event that you don't think is miraculous and a miraculous rare event?
I guess you can't really. It depends on different people. You might ask different people. They might say it's a miracle. Some people might say it's
Well,
never a
I
miracle.
know they
Maybe
say
they
it.
just one
Okay.
thing in their life is a miracle.
Right.
Some people might say, like every day there's a miracle.
I know that people say this because I talk to them all the time. What I'm asking is, where's their justification when they say it's a miracle, when they're also acknowledging that sometimes rare, fortunate things do just simply occur? So when they're saying, I've determined it's a miracle, I guess I'm asking, where's their justification when they're telling me this is a
Well,
miracle?
maybe there is no real justification.
That's my point.
There you go.
But that's not necessarily a problem.
It is a problem.
It is a problem. If you want me to believe,
It's a problem if you
It's a
care
problem.
whether or not the things you believe are true. If you don't care if they're true, then justification for them doesn't matter. If you care if they're true, then whether or not they're reasonable beliefs to hold and there is justification for holding them becomes important.
Well, I mean, I just think it doesn't even matter. I think I don't even think it matters if it's true. If it makes you feel good and do good things.
Okay. Well, in that case, then the dialogue is kind of over, and I don't mean that in any kind of an offensive way. But honestly, when the person on the phone tells us they don't care if their beliefs are true or not, they just simply hold them, and can't justify them, and they don't care. Then I don't really see a point in a dialogue, because you're saying that even if we could demonstrate you're wrong, you don't care. You're still going to believe it, or you're still going to say it's okay to hold the belief. And so to you, whether or not beliefs are true is unimportant.
Well, maybe we don't have a justification for miracles. That doesn't mean we don't have a good church and we're not good people.
I don't doubt that you're a decent person. I mean, if you were my neighbor, I would probably be fine with that. I don't think that you're, killing babies in the basement.
I find all this stuff pretty philosophical, if you ask me. I don't think it has much to do with whether religion is good or bad. I mean...
Well, no, I mean, whether religion is good or bad has to do strictly with what it does. And what I see is that there are some benefits to religion, such as it supplies like a good support structure. For example, you're saying you've got this good community of people that are in your
like
church.
Some people, they said the Bible helped them through like a time, like suicide. They thought they were going to commit suicide, and the Bible helped them.
Well, that's not the same.
There's a different issue there, because I sometimes wonder if Christianity specifically doesn't kind of rob us of our self-esteem by telling us that we're inherently depraved, and then give us back, that sort of, if you grovel, then you're acceptable to God, and that makes you worthy of something. But that's a whole different issue. Because right now, what I'm trying to say is that I agree with you that there are certain things, like the social structure of your church is probably very supportive, and it's a positive social influence on the people that attend there. I agree with you.
I agree with that, too.
Right. Okay. But I also understand that there is a great deal of pain going on around the globe for religious reasons because of the same doctrines that are coming out of the same book, because people read that book and they read a lot of different things. And for every Christian that I've ever met who says, this is what really my religion is about, I've met other Christians who say, that Christian's not a real Christian, and this is what my religion is about. And so I have to look at Christians and say, what does each person believe and what are they doing here? And yes, there are some good people who are Christians, and there are some evil people also who are Christians. And it's the Christianity that seems to motivate some of these evil things. And before you react, let me just say, I don't think that people in Nigeria would be murdering their children as witches if somebody didn't tell them God wanted them to kill witches and convince them that their child was a witch. I think that is a superstitious belief that they were convinced of that is causing those deaths that would not be happening if they had a real-world perspective that says witches are not real.
Well, I mean, my church doesn't...
I understand. You're not killing children. I get it. Your church is not doing that. You're a happy group of people that has a community going on, and it makes you happy. The problem is, this is a belief that proselytizes all around the globe, and different people interpret it in different ways, and it causes a lot of harm. Most of the harm that comes from the religious teaching seems to be connected to the supernatural and superstitious parts and claims about it. The parts that are good are the very real things that we agree are good, that are like you're talking about, the social structure. We get together, we sing songs, we feel happy, we like each other, we rely on each other. If someone needs help, we come together and help them. All of that is community, it's good. It would be good whether you were a social group or a church. It would still be good either way for you people to come together and be a good community group of people. I would support that. What I have problems with is when you start teaching people things that are superstitious and supernatural that a lot of uneducated people get a hold of, don't know how to interpret, and start hurting each other. Or you get some people who are educated who hurt people, who are like voting and saying, gay people need to be not treated like other people. They need to be treated less than other people. Or they need to be, that women shouldn't have the same rights as men. Or that, when you start getting things like that, these are people that did get a regular education who don't know how to read this and not make it hurt people. So what I'm saying is, maybe if we took the good parts of it that you're saying are the good things, like the
You mean
community,
we need to make a new Testament with no supernatural things?
I'm saying maybe we can just take the good community aspects of what you do as a church and hold on to those things, and maybe weed out some of the stuff that you're saying we can't really demonstrate, and maybe it's not true, but we don't really care. Let's care.
Is that what your organization does? It's sort of like you help people, but you have no Bible, you have no...
We are a community group. We're pretty small. Yeah. I'm going to admit we probably don't have the resource power that your church has behind it, for sure. But we do our part. We have like an Adopt a Street cleanup, and we have a blood drive, and so we do community efforts, and we try. We're not